And welcome to another episode of Cognitive Cuisine. I am one of the hosts, Will, Wize, Otero,
I am Yayoi Komiyama of Brain to Belly.
and we're excited to bring you another episode. And today I want to talk about, because off the air we was just talking about something, and it kind of reflects with what I want to talk about, right? Because a lot, because we deal with coaches, we're coaches, we know all, and a lot, and I wanted to talk about the struggles coaches go through, right? With really knowing how to get their their offer out, right? Like, how do they go out and prepare their offers? Because that's something I even struggle with. It's like, because even having the conversation with you, I realized, was telling you, like, who do I want to gear the podcasting launching thing, and it really was dawning on me that it really has to be towards coaching, and because it's to coaches and people in that lane, because I just feel that it offers them another piece to show their authority in whatever business whatever lane that they're in. And that just going on from the conversation. So why is it that coaches go struggle through building their offers and having trust in themselves, right? Because that's one of the biggest issues is feeling worthy that your program is worthy for people to purchase. And so yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great question because I think all of us, no matter if we're a coach or not, we all struggle with some sort of, not struggle, but we all have a fear, right? And it's really if we let that fear take over or if we mitigate that fear or not. Um, because fear is always going to be there. Are
Yeah.
we good enough? Is our target audience going to um, feel like we're giving them value, right? And I think that is always something that we're going to fear. But the thing is, that's never going to go away. So you kind of have to ignore that and think logically and say, wait a minute, well, my target audience is usually, and this is, how we should promote it, is us before we transformed or before when we were struggling, right?
Hmm.
So when we were in that pain, let's just say, for example.
Yeah.
So for me, it would be like when I was yo-yo dieting and when I was unsure of what I was doing, unsure that I could even release weight or feel good about myself. And so my target audience is me, the past me. And we tend to forget that, it's like for us, maybe learning to, let's say one of the techniques that we always use is, positive self talk, right?
Hmm.
Or you know, questioning or becoming aware of the doubts that happen in our brains, right? Like saying, is that really true? Is that, and just be aware of the insecurities that come out and all that. And that's one of the techniques that we use is to see, is this really our reptilian brain taking over, or is it our brains that are, who we are now, right? The brain that we have now. And I think we tend to forget that. And so it's really that's why we struggle with making an offer because we're viewing it from who we are now, but we have to view it from who we were then. Would this offer that I have now be valuable to someone who was struggling with, let's say, with self-confidence and releasing weight because they were so unsure of what they were doing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Absolutely. No, no, you're absolutely right. And because even with me, right, it was it's still something that I struggle with my confidence in somewhat is like, oh, who's gonna. But just talking to you and seeing your excitement and everything you're doing, right? That's really, it's really kind of validating the work that I'm putting into because you were part of the program and you, I mean, you've taken like when we talked about like you're following the stuff that I'm telling you, like you're batch recording, you're getting stuff right, and so to see that and you so excited and getting it done, like that's really really validating for who I need to like. Who is my core audience? Who are the people that I'm trying to help and because podcasting is that next form of promote it right now it is the thing where people can go promote themselves or you build a platform and build an authority even more, and so that has shown me like all right, this who needs something that needs to show their authority.
Yeah.
Just- that's
And I
yeah.
Yeah, and it's really because we forget. We forget that at one point we were struggling, right?
Hmm.
Like for you, you know, you've done so many podcasts over the years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've done it for at least 5, 6 years at this
Hmm.
point. And for me, this is something new. So I'm like, this is for me. Like, it's so valuable that you're helping me out and you're telling me this and you're giving me advice, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I'm doing really. And I'm just following some of the steps that you told me, oh, this is how it's done. And that's because you have the experience. And, from your perspective, you're like, this is nothing, right? I've done this so many times. This is easy peasy. But for me, it's like, oh, okay, right? And I think we tend to forget that because we've come along. Let's say we're like, you're right here, and I'm like right here, and I'm still like, oh, okay, wow. I have a lot to do before I could catch up at all, right? And I think we tend to forget how far we've come.
And you and for you come from an idea that you've had for years, right? Because you've talked about you wanted to start your podcast for years, and and it finally took you listening to me say my pitch, and it wasn't that I was pitching it to you, right? It was just a
Yeah.
just conversation we was just having, and I was telling you about I wanted to build this program and do this and you were like, all right, sign me up,
Yep.
like instantly. Like I'm like, huh? And you're like, yeah. It's like sign me up. I'm in. Like I want this. I want to do a podcast, and I've been procrastinating. And you just like I'm gonna do it. And credit to you, you have done it. You've already recorded a number of episodes. You've come back with like, hey, I want to do it like this. Like you've really been involved in building something, and I'm proud of you. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it was also timing,
Mhm.
because I was at that point where I was ready to stop procrastinating, because, I was like, this is an old term, a broken record. That's an old person term, but I kept on repeating, "Oh, I'm going to get my podcast out. I'm going to get my podcast out." And like you said, it's been years. And I was like, "You know what? It's finally time that I get off my butt and do something." And of course, the ironic thing is my podcast is called I'll Start on Monday, which is about a lot about procrastination and the hesitation that we have. And I was like, "You know what? This is kind of ironic. I think it's time that I do this."
And I'm excited for you. It's gonna be a really good show, and you've worked hard, right? You've worked hard, and the amazing part is for me when I first started, it was I didn't have resources. I wasn't in the lanes that I'm in now, and so I didn't have those relationships that I have now. You have those relationships, so you have people that once they heard that you were doing your podcast, they're like, "Oh, I want to be a guest. I want to."
Yeah.
And so that's a plus, right? Right, for someone like you, and that's my goal. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, if a lot of you coaches, you have the networking, and if you decide to go interview based or whatever it is you decide to do with your podcast or whatever it is, is that you have these resources, you have these networks, you have these relationships with people that now, all right, let me
Yeah.
let me utilize these relationships to help build what I have, build my brand, build my podcast, whatever it is.
Right. And I think it's, I mean, for me especially, it wasn't like I didn't have a podcast. I kind of did in the way that, my
Yes, you had a
Facebook
show,
group. Yeah.
but you also had
And I
the
had my
show.
show. I had a
Yes,
show. Yeah, that kind of got derailed because my producer got sick, right? And I had that plus, I was doing all these interviews in my Facebook group.
yes,
So it was like just another outlet for me that, and especially after the show died, it was like I need an outlet for that. And I remember when when I started recording for this show that I'm launching, I felt like, "Oh, you know what? I forgot how good it felt to do this," you know? And, of course, I do this with you each week, but still, it was like, "Oh, it's kinda different when you have your own show and you're doing recording and you're asking people, about things from your show."
hmm
And I was like, I really miss doing that." And so it was really great that this opportunity came up and I was able to really, when you said you're gonna do this, you're gonna start teaching this, I was like, "Oh, this is perfect timing. I gotta jump on it." Because I also know my personality. If I don't jump on it when it presents itself, I'll be like, "Oh, there goes another few months saying, 'I'm gonna do a podcast. I'm gonna do a podcast.'"
and no, and it's a blessing. It's been a blessing to me because I've been able to lean on you for feedback. I've been asking you, been able to ask you questions like, what is it that resonated with you, and what else? And then when you're like, oh, at the beginning, you're like, oh, whatever, like equipment, or any other like any other questions you had, like they were addressed later on in the program, but it was just being able to. It's crazy because like my thing was helping people launch their podcast, right? And my issue was like I wanted to wait to perfection. I wanted to build it first and then launch it. And then I spoke with someone and they were like, "No, why don't you just build it as you go?" And I was like, "Okay, all right." And I built and I've been building it with you
Yeah,
from scratch. So
yeah,
it's been awesome. And again, like for me, the crowning point is going to be when you finally release it, and I can say like yes,
yes. So, yes, my release date is March 1, so that's, like, right around the corner,
yes.
and I'm so, so, so excited, and yeah, and, because I was listening to you, I feel confident about it as well, because, it's not like this daunting thing, and I don't have that overwhelm as well, thank goodness. Um, yeah, because I think, working with a mentor, working with somebody that knows what they're doing,
hmm
and that goes out to any coach, right? When you're coaching someone, you're working with someone that knows that's gone through everything. A coach is someone that has gone through what you're struggling with right now or the pain that you're in. They experienced it and got out of it. So they have the experience, they know what's going on. And to follow that and to follow their lead is the way to personal growth, because personal growth is really about modeling someone that's slightly a little above you or
hmm
that's gone through and learned from the lessons that you need to learn, right?
Yeah.
So it really works out if you think about it logically. It's when the emotions start coming out and all the fears start coming out.
Oh, absolutely. Because even with for me, it's just launching it was something that was emotional because I didn't know like what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do this? Like it's gonna be. It's like how do I launch this program? How do I create it? Or what is where do I? So it was all these different things, but it just finally was like, all right, what were the things I had to go back and think about? What were the things I struggled with? What were my issues? What was the things that I needed to work on? that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And that's what I focused on, right? It was just like, I first of all, let's build on what's going to be your niche. What is it that you're going to talk about? You wanted to build it on you already had your title. You had the plan, right? It wasn't so hard with you because you've already had the plan for
God
so
knows so
long,
long.
right? You had it for so long. You just needed someone to come in and show you, like, all right, we're gonna do this way. You're
Yeah.
gonna do it this, like this, like, or everything, and that way you don't burn yourself out. Like, don't, and it just fell into your lap that you have all these relationships. You have the necessary resources to sustain a very vibrant podcast, right? Because especially guest wise.
Yes,
So
yes.
so it was the perfect time for you to launch it because you have everything in place, right? You had all the necessary tools. You had someone willing to show you how to launch it. You you
Yes.
you, you had the time to, like, man, I have the people I can talk to now. Also, that where I don't have to go searching for guests, and that's one of the major issues a lot of podcasts have is, like, after a few episodes they lose what they're going to talk about, right? So with you going the conversation route and interviewing people and you having the numerous relationships that you have episodes for the next few seasons to go, like, without really thinking about, like,
Struggling.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So it's great.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's a good thing that you're doing what you're doing because it's gonna pay off in the long run.
Yeah. And, I kind of also think it's like we were saying, it's timing, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, everything kind of just came into alignment with everything because, like you said, if I didn't have these relationships that I do have this, I have a pretty vast network of people,
You
right,
do.
from
Yeah,
all walks of life.
absolutely.
And I didn't realize it until I was thinking, "Oh, well, who would wanna be on my podcast?" And then, I mentioned it, people like, "Oh, yeah, I'd love to do it." And because it's also gonna validate them,
Yeah.
and it's a way for them to, show people that, "Hey, I could tell you what I'm good at," and so that they can kind of brag a little bit about what they're good at and what they do, and I get to showcase that, and under my umbrella and under the theme of, whatever theme I have, right? Which is the
Hmm.
theme of the show, but, and I think it's just that, yeah, it just came at a good time. Everything, like, came together as it should have been. I don't know if it's God's plan or whatever you wanna call it, right? But I think there's always timing for everything, and it's like with any relationship that comes your way, any job opportunity that comes your way, it's really timing, and I had all the resources in place. It was just that I had to get off my butt and, have the courage to say, "Okay, I'll do this now." 'Cause, I am a procrastinator. I mean, I've always been that.
And that's you're not the only one. It's something that I've struggled with, and I still struggle. But it sometimes it's like you gotta really, really start challenging yourself, right? That you really gotta start doing things that that there's things. I know there's something that I have to really just give up for me to go to that next level like
Mhm.
this, and it's an everyday struggle. It's something like, of course, when you try to, like, just quit something cold turkey, it's not easy. But it again,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know that one. Well, 'cause I was a former smoker, so I totally get that, and yeah, going cold turkey was the only way to for me to stop because of my personality too.
yeah.
Um, I can't I remember years ago, I was like, "Yeah, I'll just cut back on my cigarettes and, maybe one a day." Yeah, right. You know, and then but I did do that for a while in that I was like, I would say, "Okay, I'd only smoke if I didn't buy the cigarettes," right? So I would bum cigarettes off of people, and I would smoke that one every day, though. So it was like, "Okay, am I really" that was kinda like fooling myself, right? But I figured I was weaning myself off of it. But, in knowing my personality, I couldn't do it that way because I was still, asking bumming cigarettes off of this one person, right? Saying, "Hey," and I say, "I'll buy a pack for you, but you have to hold on to it." And I'm like, that doesn't make any s when I think about it now, I was like, "That was really weird that I was doing that."
Because by the time they were probably done. They probably were on to a new pack by the time you saw them again. So yeah, no, it is. It is.
Yeah,
It's funny the things, but again, I'm realizing more and more like there are things that I know that I have to sacrifice and work on that needs to be done. Like it just has to be done. I'm just realizing this more and more. It's just like, all right, dude, time to wake up. Like we've worked so hard. And the amazing thing is, right, I've built so much, and I feel I haven't put in the proper amount of effort, right? Like I feel like if I was to really put the proper amount of effort that I'm supposed to put into this, that I would be further along than what I am. And so when you start coming to realization, when this realization starts hitting you, you're like, all right, what do I have to do now? What's that shift that I have to hit? What is it? What is it that I have to do to hit that shift and go to that next level?
I think it's important to think about, going to the next level and hitting that part, where hitting whatever we need, that goal or whatever, right? But I also think that we need to give ourselves grace too, because sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves, like, "Oh, I didn't do this and I should be this much along, or I should be, here when I'm right here," right? And but then, we also have to give ourselves grace in that we're exactly where we're supposed to be, and we tend to forget that because, of course, I'm impatient. I'm a New Yorker, so I'm totally impatient, you know? A city person, so I'm very much like, "Go, go, 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 go," right?
Right.
And people are like, "Gosh, why are you in such a hurry?" And I'm like, "I'm not in a hurry. This is normal for me," right? Pace, but then when you think about it, it's like we're so conditioned to be a certain way as well. And then we forget that we have to give ourselves grace that this is where we're supposed to be. And if, if the almighty God, whomever wanted us to be further, they would have guided us to that place. Or if we had listened, actually, too.
Yes, yes. But again, also, but my thing is, if there are things that you know that you need to do that you're not doing, right?
True, true.
Then that impedes the growth a little bit more, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's
if you
true
used to
too.
really do the things that you're supposed to do and not just talk about it, then of course,
Yeah.
of and but I'm talking about myself in general. I'm not
And I'm like, no, that's me.
I'm talking about myself in general, but it's like if and it's just like hitting me like a ton of bricks. Like, dude, if you really did do what you're supposed to be doing, like half of the stuff that you're supposed to be doing, things would be different. And I need to get out of that mindset of like stop focusing on what should and correct the problem. Then don't go like I. So I'm in. So you will get into that struggle in your head where now, like, all right, dude, like now we know the issue. How do we correct it? Like,
Yeah.
let's not what like give yourself grace. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
but that's the first step, right? The awareness piece.
w- w-
Yeah.
Dude, what are we gonna do now to combat that? Like now, what
Yeah.
are we gonna do to court to to course correct
Yes.
what
Yes.
you're doing?
And I think that next step is always action, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that we all have a hard time with
With
because
is the action.
yeah, because it's all those fears like, oh, well, I could probably wait a little longer. I probably need to perfect this a little bit more, you know, um, or I could have done a better job, so maybe I'll just re-record it, or I can wait a little bit longer. And I think it's those fears that start coming back to us, and that's that whole reptilian brain, right?
Yeah,
It's that brain that we're in our survival mode when we were in that, prehistoric brain, where like if we go out, we have to watch our backs because we never know if a dinosaur predator is going to be there, right? you know, um, well, that's a save in anything, but anyway, but it's really about, mitigating the fears that we have because anything that we do that's new is gonna be new,
yeah.
and there's gonna be fear attached to anything new because you've never done it. Remember the first time you rode a bicycle? I mean, I was scared.
I remember when I learned how to ride a bike. It was the people who lived downstairs from me, um, Eddie and Junior. They actually were in Massachusetts for the summer, and they had this little bike. In the front of my house, there was this it was a little area where it was kind of fenced in, and that's where I learned how to ride the bike. Right in that little section right there. There was
Oh,
no training wheels on the bike. It was just me learning, like just me just.
no training
Yeah,
wheels.
I was a little bit older. I was probably like 7, 8, whatever. But it was just me just getting on and learning it right there. So,
Wow.
but it was a moment where you face that fear, right? Like you like I'm gonna fall, but you just keep doing it, and yeah, eventually
Wow.
that's how I learned how to ride the bike.
Yeah. I had training wheels. That's why I was like, "No training wheels?"
Yeah, no training wheels.
Wow, because I remember that time that was when they took off the training wheels, that was the part that scared the crap out of me, as a kid, because I was like, "I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna fall." And of course, you're gonna fall.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was getting over that and say, "Whoops," instead of falling and say, "Ah," it was like, "Okay, I fell, get back up and just do it again." And I think it's really that courage to get back up and do it again that makes a difference, right? In anything.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything you do, it's that courage to pick yourself up after you fall or stumble, whatever it is. And so,
Yeah, I mean, I, like, remember the first time, I had to give a presentation in front of the class, and I remember being scared because you think everyone's gonna laugh at you, right? And and I remember being really scared, but still doing it because I had to do it for class.
yeah.
Yeah, and we all have those
Oh yeah,
experiences.
no, absolutely. I remember not it was a couple of years ago when I hosted an event. I went to Pittsburgh and hosted an event with Jeff Villa, and it was his podcasting theater, and I had done my show, of course, and we done virtual, but now this was like I was on a stage, and it's a different experience. So
Yeah,
yeah, no, it's with anything you get those nerves, but now I'm excited now to go back, right, and and show off and just be able to go on and with much more different confidence and much more different mindset than I was 2 years ago, even a year ago, right?
yeah,
Because of all the transition, the transformation and everything, and so yeah, it can be scary, but after you experience it and you get through it, right? It shows you like, all right, you can do this now. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm more excited now to for more opportunities to speak on stage.
Yeah. I think it's like with anything. You know, like speaking, I remember when I started interviewing people online, right? You know, I started off in my Facebook group and it was going live into the Facebook group.
Yeah,
And I was terrified the first time I did it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, am I doing this right? Is it even going live?" All the technical issues, and then I have to talk to the person, right? And I don't know, I was like, I don't know what to say really. I had a basic, idea. I had like a basic bullet point script, but I couldn't read the script the whole time either. So I'm like, "Okay, what am I gonna do?" And it's like trying to figure that out and get through the nerves, and I remember the first episode I did, it was like, I did it, that was like, it wasn't anything to sneeze about, it wasn't anything to say, "Oh, wow," but I did it because I had to do it, and it's really about, practice, right? Repetition
yeah.
and learning things, and we all get better if we repeat
Of
something.
course, yeah. As a host, you're gonna learn. You're gonna improve because your confidence is gonna swell up, and you're gonna improve on how you deliver questions and how you're gonna on even the questions that you want to ask people. Like, oh, maybe I want to shift the conversation in this direction. All this comes with experience, right? Like with you doing it more often, like your confidence is going to be different. Like your confidence from episode one isn't the same one as episode two or episode three, right? Because and it's funny because we discussed episode one because you told me you wanted to re-record it, right? Because you and Cindy want to wait so it'd be perfect, and I'm like, it's just I heard episode one. I listened to it. I reviewed. I checked it out and did it, and I thought it was fine, me personally. But I know how you are, and you. But to me, it was like, no, you should maybe if you have her back on and do it again.
Yeah, that
But
makes more sense.
because like it was like even when I had a guest before, when I had a guest on, and they did audio, right? And they're like, oh, but they were waiting to do video because they were uncomfortable. But they were a guest on my show and I did video. And I was like, but you're doing video right now. I said, there's no excuse. You're on my show right now doing video. It looks perfectly fine to me. Like people want to wait till they have the right camera, the
Yes.
right setup, the right this, the right that. And it just doesn't work out that way.
Yeah. And
So
and life is that way, right? Life doesn't work that way at all. There's never the perfect moment. There's never, and it's like that Nike slogan. It's just really
just do it. Yeah.
just freaking do it, right? Uh it's really because the more you do it, the better you get. And it's
So of
like
course, so of course,
anything.
yeah, of course, the next episode of you guys do is going to be better, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
it's going to be the second time you do it.
Right.
So, uh, and then it's like, if what if you don't like that one? The third time is going to be because. So, of course, so with me, I don't like even on Stuck in My Mind. I don't mind having a return guest because I know there's more that
Right.
the guest has to offer. But you're limited on time, right? And you're limited on how many questions you can ask because you want to get it within this time frame.
Yeah.
And so yeah, sometimes you want to have a repeat guest on, then you have them back on.
Yeah.
But for you to just dismiss a whole episode that you did
Yes. That's not good either. Yes.
because you
Thank you.
you want you both feel that it wasn't right, and I again I listened to the episode and I
Yes.
watched the episode. It was a good episode.
Yes.
So I'm
So,
like,
yes,
how you gonna get rid of it?
it's the whole
I know,
brain,
I
it's
know,
the
I know.
fear thing,
But
fear thing.
sometimes you need a voice to reason.
Yes,
And
that's why I'm glad I talked to you. And And it's really good to talk to people that know you as well because they know, like, you know me well enough to know that, that was my fear talking than anything. And you calling me out on it. And because that does happen to us, right? We tend to do that, and it's really important to have these people around you that say, "Hey, you know,
And I can say it because I saw like I watched
yeah,
the entire episode,
yeah,
right? I
yep,
watched the entire
yep,
thing, and I actually thought it was a really good
episode, yeah,
episode. Like you and her really, the conversation you guys had, everything you spoke about was was good. Like it was
yeah."
to me, it was good. It was there, like you. I was like, and then when you came to when you said that, I was like, I'm
Right.
saying, like,
Well, yeah, and it's also, well, it's also true because, like, she and I have done so many episodes together in different places, right?
yeah,
And so we have a rhythm, we have a way of doing things, and I think we just it's like you and I, right? When we first started, there were maybe some, hiccups here and there, but we've got a rhythm going now, and it's kind of easy to fall into that pattern and that nice rhythm.
yeah. Oh yeah, but you have it has to be built up, right?
Exactly.
Well, like anything else, that the chemistry has to build. Like yes, we had chemistry, but we just had to refine it.
Yeah,
We had like like all right, we had now I could talk to her. He like it was there, like the energy was there, and it just takes now we refine it. Like now,
exactly.
just the fact that we're continuously working at it and having these conversations, of course, is going to build. Is going to resonate differently each time because just the confidence level is there. The growth the the relationship that's been built off of
Mhm.
this, and so yeah, it's definitely different. It's different when you do it much more frequently.
Oh, yeah, and that's with anything, right?
Mhm.
Because they say that with any new skill that you try to uh, adopt, you have to practice at it. You have to practice. And we tend to forget that, especially in this day and age of, modern technology, you instant gratification for pretty much anything, right?
Yeah,
But like, even if talk about like a video game, for instance, you still need to learn how to manipulate and how to do things on, and learning that takes time.
yeah.
Like, I remember, God, I was going through my closet and I found my original Nintendo with the Duck Hunt and all
The
that.
cartridge and everything, yes.
Yeah, with the cartridges and everything, and I was like, "Wow, okay," and I was looking at it, I was like, "I remember when I first got it," and the controllers and everything, and
Mhm.
I was like, at first, I didn't know how to control things, and now it's, like, totally different, but, like, I remember that, and I was looking at it and thinking, "Wow, that was so long ago," but then I was thinking, like, "Yeah, you didn't know how to control." I remember when, oh gosh, this really tells me how old I am, but I remember when Pac-Man first came out and, like, oh, and Space Invaders
Mhm.
first came out, and you had those consoles in the arcades, right?
Yeah, yeah, you had
It was like
Frogger, you
Stranger
had
yeah, it was like
Donkey
Stranger
Kong.
Thing.
Yeah, you had Donkey Kong, you had all these different games, you had Miss Pac-Man, you had,
Yeah,
Galaga, you had Centipede. Oh, yeah,
yeah,
of course, yeah,
yeah,
listen, I'm an arcade kid, I
me too,
know,
yeah.
and so yeah, but
But I remember, I mean, I don't know how much money I spent, how many quarters I spent on doing those things, but then, at first you suck. You totally suck. You're
yeah,
like, "What the
and
hell?" Right?
and then
I died.
you play enough times, you get better at it.
Yeah, and it's the same as that, really.
Mhm.
It's like, and then you hit high scores, right? But it's like everything, you have to be practicing at it. You're not instantly gonna learn it. You have to,
And that was what was kind of hitting me, right, was, all right, I've never built a course before. This is my first course. Of course, it's gonna take work. Like I'm sure as the course evolves, the way I promote it and market it, and the confidence level in it, because it's the evolution of it, right? But it took me just putting it out there and challenging myself to really work at. Now I know, all right, I need to
Yeah.
work on this part of it. This is what I need to tweak. This is what I need to take out. Like it took me really to put the foundation in,
Yeah.
and now is when you start putting the layers. Now is when I start like, all right, this is the core of it. This is what I really want to work on. Really want to now expand from there and build from there.
And I think, yeah, and that's with anything and anyone, right? Like even books, you have different editions of it because they're
And
constantly
evolve.
evolving.
Yeah.
And if they're not evolving, they're stagnant. And I think we tend to forget that everything needs to be evolving. And or like you can't just, say, okay, this is it, that's it. Because the world around you is always moving forward.
Hmm.
So you have to kind of like match that as well.
Yeah.
And,
Uh,
we can't just sit back and say, we're done.
No, and it's even the last week or so, like things are really playing in my head, and just even a thing, something I've been working on that I'll talk about later on, that I'll be releasing. But it's just been, it's just like, all right, I, the project I've been working on, yeah, I have all these other things, but this new one that I just started working on, it was like it was something that was real personal to me, right? Because the stuff that was going in it was what I experienced to build what I'm building here in real Wise, and so I'm excited for that. But it's just, it's it's challenging myself to do things that, again, that I didn't know I was capable of doing or building, or just, so when you do that, when you go and you're like, all right, I want to try this, all right, and you go and you attempt it, and it works, right, and you see that, okay, this I have something here. Like now you're like, let me just start building from that.
Yeah. And it's really, with anyone, I know, like any of my mentors, they'll do something and they always say they have a feedback model and they always say the feedback model is, okay, what was good about it?
Hmm.
And then what could be done better?
Yeah,
And it's always that what can be done better because this was good, but we always want to do one up. We want to be better than the one, the last time you did something, right?
yeah,
You want it to be better. And I think that's like with art, with painting, with even with photography, you want something that's better than what you did before. And that's just human nature, I think. And to strive for that, you're never going to get perfection, sadly. We're never going to get it.
yeah,
Although
that's,
we want it, right?
yeah,
And it's always, trying to do a little above what you did before.
yeah,
And we tend to
absolutely.
forget that, because then we start comparing.
Yeah, and this has been a really good episode. I've enjoyed it. It's really it's helped me because I kind of, like I said, I was struggling with some things, but it's always good to be able to have these conversations and work them out. Like it's great to be able to hopefully someone out there can gain something from it. But I know I gained something from it, so
Yeah,
that's what's important.
yeah, that's true. And it's always, these are basic things that we tend to forget because everyday life gets in the way. And Sometimes it's just good to be reminded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
But if anyone ever feels like they're struggling with something, you could always leave us a comment, send us a message. You can always reach out to me at Wize at realwiseglobal.com.
yep.
And yeah, and I'm good. This is a great episode. So
Yep. Yep.
and stay tuned. Beginning of March, I'll start on Monday. We'll be launching. So I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So it's coming. It's coming, people. I'll
Yep.
start on Monday. It's coming. So
Yep.
pay attention and tune in because she's got some fire guests. So
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And, if anyone wants to reach out to me, just brain to belly, Google brain to belly, and you'll find me, Yayoi Komiyama. And you can find my website, get in touch with me there, or you can find me on Facebook. I'm there as well. Yeah. And just reach out because, it doesn't hurt to just talk. Let me just say that. I'm not scary. I don't bite, and it's not like it's in person. So, if it's online, it's safer, right? Um, yeah, just ask me questions if you really need questions answered.
reach out, definitely.
Yeah.
So everybody have a great day.
Yep.
Peace out.
Peace out.